Jane. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Jane. How are you?
Good, thank you. I keep muting myself.
That's all right. Cambry, Vicky, Amy, good morning. I know Brett's trying to make it on in here.
Good morning, Toya. How are you?
Awesome and amazing.
Awesome.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, we've got people coming in here. Christine, James, I see Hubert connecting on in.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Jane.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Brett. Good morning.
Morning. I think we got the second half of October is upon us, and it is official. The leaves are falling and all over my car, Toya.
I love it.
Does real estate sell in the fourth quarter?
It's always selling.
It's always selling.
It's always selling.
I love it. All right. So we're going to talk through some stuff today. Let me get this up here real quick. The realestatestats.com. If you've never been there, you're behind the 8 ball. We go there every week and we start with the numbers. So if I click on Fulton County and we give it a second to load here, Toya. What are we seeing? I think we're seeing a real estate market that's bouncing around a little bit. And that's pretty normal for this time of year, right? But if I just do the year to date here, we're looking at 840 active listings in Fulton County, 115 active under contract, 232 pending, and 272 closed. Let me get my cursor off there. What do we see the lines doing? I think we're seeing inventory growing a little bit. You can see the pink line is coming up. I think you can see the closing line is doing a seasonality effect where it slowly tapers off after the summer, right? The blue line, the pending, and the green line, the under contract, both those lines, I don't know what this dip is. I think that was, no, maybe it was just a little weak, but both of them are tapering off. So historically, the real estate market peaks in the summer, slows down after school starts a little bit, and then kind of pipes back up at the end of the year in December. We just haven't experienced that the last couple of years. Yet we're experiencing it this year, and honestly, it's pretty normal, right? If we run over to, let's run to DeKalb.
And while that's actually pulling up, Brett, you know, one of the things I would say is to look at the gap. The gap seems to be widening just a little bit.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about, we're starting in 2023 where, you know, the closed units, things are staying on actively on the market, maybe just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And that's normal. So I think that we are getting into what is truly a normal market where we're seeing things over 30 days on the market. So just widening that gap. However, I think there's an opportunity for us to narrow the margins in terms of good pricing. That's going to be very important. And really our value proposition with marketing.
Yeah. I think the value of the real estate agent's going up.
Yes, it is.
When the real estate market is great, people don't feel like we worked that hard. They see us making dollars and cents. But it was an easy sale in their mind. Well, it's not an easy sale, so they need us more. And yes, we probably work harder for our money now, but they respect it more. And sometimes that's a good thing. DeKalb County is 476, 55 active option under contract, 156 pending, and 161 closed. Same story. Inventory is on an incline. Closings and pendings are on a little bit of a seasonal slowdown. I feel pretty normal about these numbers. The only other county I like to just look at from a big county perspective to give us a holistic picture, Toya, is Cobb. And Cobb County had 383 active, 78 under contract, 152 pending, and 161 closing. So I'm actually not going to mess this chart up. And you can see it more here. If you see can you see my little plus sign?
Yep.
So that's January. That's start of the year. Look at the bell curve of the brown line. Up, 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 summertime, 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 slowing down. That's what a seasonal bell curve looks like in our industry, and it's pretty normal.
Yep.
So I'll leave it there. Anything you'd add around the numbers?
No, it's just, as you said, I think this is the time for value add, especially with a lot of the conversations that are going on in the market. And, how do we actually increase our value or showcase our value? Because I think the value has always been there.
So look at this, just for perspective. Last year on October 24th, 2022, there were 508 active in Cobb County. Right now there's 383 active. So it's actually less. There was 202 closings. This year there's 161. So that's a 20% decline. So it's just kind of interesting to see it where the inventory is higher. Actually, I'm sorry, the inventory is lower and the closings are lower, which is exactly why, if you came to our industry update, why prices aren't going backwards. And that's just one county, but they all have the same story, right?
Correct.
Perfect.
And one of the things, while we switch to the next topic, I know you have another nice topic for us to talk about. I want to talk about interest rates because that is a hot topic right now. But I'll also share that we are seeing a lot of slowdown in terms of momentum. This is the time that I share with agents. It's time to take advantage of those agents who will not be working that hard for the holiday season as we approach that. So lots of good opportunities to pick up some properties there.
Absolutely. Where did you think I was going?
Interest rates.
I might. All right. So interestingly, I don't think interest rates are that big of a news story, but it hit Inman, so it's worthy of talking about, I guess. Mortgage rates ease after Powell weighs in on the impact of tightening. So I'm going to give you my big picture summary here. The Federal Reserve, it's a good thing that we live in a capitalistic society, and there is a government agency that has the ability to change the economics through policy and money management. It doesn't feel good in the short term, but it's always good in the long term, meaning it protects the value of the US dollar. It protects the value of your house. It protects everything. It just feels like they're beating us up a little bit right now because it's attacking our industry by raising interest rates that causes us to feel it a little more than the rest of the world, right? I mean, if you're not buying a house these days, those interest rates really don't affect your life that much. I mean, if you're not buying a car, buying a house, living on credit cards, your life looks the same. You realize that? But us that live and die through the real estate industry, we feel it, right?
Yeah.
And we're a big chunk of the population, but we're not the whole population, right? So remember, our filter, our lens, if you will, is a little bit skewed compared to the most people. Yet the Fed has this giant complicated formula of how they play with interest rates and try to pull inflation down to protect the value of money and all this stuff. I wouldn't even go near trying to explain it. Yet, big picture, they feel like all the policy they've been doing is working. And inflation's coming down, life's getting better. from an economic standpoint. So they here's what it said in an interview. He acknowledged that in principle, elevated term premiums, higher rates of return bond investors are demanding to compensate them for risk could reduce the need for further rate hikes. Yields on the 10-year Treasury barometer for mortgage rates fell 6 basis points Friday. So we actually had a dip in mortgage rates Friday to a whopping 7.97%. This feels like no news. But the real news in this is the government policy is working. Our economy is fixing itself. And at some point in time, there'll be a recovery period, and everybody in the chair in the game when that recovery period happens will win. And I'm excited about that. It just feels like it's taking forever to get there, Toya. We thought this would be over a year ago, and it's just almost over, but I think it'll be over next year. Needless to say, the 10-year Treasury, you can see it here. If I do the 5-day total, on Friday, you saw the rates come down a little bit.
Mhm.
And that is where you saw interest rates come down. So is that going to motivate anybody to buy or sell a house? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And I actually don't even like to talk interest rates because I think you're trying to set somebody up on trying to predict something that's unpredictable.
And I would agree with that. Yet it is so worthy to know that that's part of their mindset in terms of where the market is. Just this weekend, someone asked me, is this a good market to purchase a home? It's an excellent time to purchase, as it always is, because real estate is cyclical. So I think that's all it shows.
You know, I thought about this, and this is not polished, so it's my raw thought. If I want to buy a house today, and my mortgage lender qualifies me at an 8% interest, and I buy that house today, no matter what, at some point in the future, I'll be able to remargin that mortgage. And I actually will be in a more affordable place because they qualified me on when it was at the highest.
Mhm.
So then when it becomes lower, I actually have more disposable income. I'm actually more affordable in the real estate in the future. Yet it's tough to explain that when somebody's buying a house at 8%.
Absolutely.
Yep. Rock and roll. All right. Let me jump back into this. So a couple other just talking points on the economy, and then we can jump into some other stuff. But the student loans, a lot of people go to college, take out student loans. During the pandemic, they pushed all those loan payments out, and all those payments came due in October right now. So there was a little bit of a fear that it was going to be an issue economically. And what people are saying is, it turns out the much feared resumption of student loan repayments isn't exerting as negative an influence on the economy as anticipated, according to economists. So it's becoming a non-issue.
Mhm.
But it was a fear of a lot of people, right? Those loan payments were at some point in time, we're going to have to be due.
And it is in October.
It is in October. Atlanta Business Chronicle. Toya, what do you think?
When they're looking at unaffordable, yes, I would say that there are areas that are affordable. Here's the conversation. Most of us are talking about where can we find affordability. You may have to go a little further out. But what I share with people, it is truly an investment. The good news about living in Atlanta, Georgia, we are a commuter state. So we are accustomed to commuting, whether to work or anywhere else. But I do find that there's affordable. I think people are really making a conscious effort to figure out for developers how to make it affordable. And we've just got to find those pockets. So if you're used to being in one particular area, you may have to go out on the outskirts.
Yep. The other part of this, we talked about this at the real estate industry update. They call these Nepo buyers. So what happens is about 38% of the buyers under the age of 30, their families helping them buy that house. Now, there's a good news and a bad news attached to this comment. The good news is that there are people that believe in homeownership and understand helping people get started in that game puts them on the path of life, right? And being in the game around wealth and equity and ownership and that kind of thing. The bad news is not everybody comes from a family that has affluence or abundance that will help them in home purchases. So what do I do with this information? Well, one, if I'm doing home buyer seminars and 40% of the people buying houses under the age of 30, I probably need to change my dialogue and say, if you have a family member that's assisting in your purchase, these are the tax advantages they may experience in helping you buy this house. Or in some cases, they co-borrow it, they buy it together, that kind of thing. But on the other side of this, there's probably creating a little bit of a social gap of affluence versus non-affluence. Yet the U.S. government and programs like Invest Atlanta are designed to help those buyers that don't have that opportunity. So what's our responsibility as real estate professionals? One, we need to just have the information to talk to people that have the ability to help their children buy houses. And we're educated around that. But second, I also think we have a fiduciary responsibility or a responsibility to know the programs that help people get into real estate. And you got to realize that there's probably people that rent because nobody's ever explained to them what the value of owning real estate. There's probably people that would buy a house today, but nobody's having the conversation with them around the path of how to make that happen. So our responsibility or our job is to be educated on all things real estate so that we can give wise counsel to anybody looking to buy and sell real estate. Make sense?
It does. I love that you mentioned no programs, because I think this is where when we talk about the market, we have to sharpen our skill sets. And to me, a good buyer's consultation is no longer just, what can you afford? It's helping them to find out, where the money is, where are the programs. So one of the things that we've been talking about a lot in our office are some of the things that are a little unconventional. We're hearing a lot of owner financing come up. We hear about subject twos happening, different things that are happening in the market. And you mentioned programs like Invest Atlanta, but also going to various counties where they have specific funds in place to be able to help with affordability. And that's where you have to understand the municipalities.
100%. And every market's different.
Yep.
That's why we got to study our local market, right?
Yep.
All right. I think that's an important conversation, but more importantly is what's the conversation we should be surrounding ourselves with to help people win? And I believe firmly that the real estate agent's the most nimble entity in the entire real estate space that can go win in spite of. Like I've made the comment, Toya, like you take the real estate profession, that number's so large, you can't turn that ship fast enough. Mm-hmm. Or even if you took Keller Williams International by and large, it's too big to change. But a real estate office, you can absolutely change the direction of a real estate office with great leadership and helping people succeed and doing it better than anybody else. And that ship is a little more nimble. but the most nimble ship in the industry is the real estate agent. You can wake up tomorrow and go make a difference for yourself. No matter what the market does. I firmly believe that. So what this article is attempting to do is talk about the secrets of how to do that. And what do you want your life to look like? You need a vision around it, creating financial intelligence, to consistently grow your business and your profitability. You got to track financial benchmarks. This is a time in history when you should be holding your money accountable. That doesn't mean cutting everything. It just means holding your money accountable, right? And what that really means is you've got to understand return on investment. So if I put $200 into Facebook ads, Toya, and I can show that that $200 caused me to sell a house, I got a good return on investment, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying you want a 6X. I've always preached 4X. But at the end of the day, you're just wanting to hold your money accountable that you get a return on it, right? They talk about cutting fat versus cutting muscle. This one's really powerful. I'm gonna let you handle this one.
So I don't think that there are bad leads either. I tell people all the time, it may not be a right now. And so we talk about pipeline business. We really talk about how do you categorize your leads? Is it an A lead, B lead, C lead that may take a little longer to close? But I think that every lead, no matter if it's 2 years from now, that's future business that you can count on. We've just got to nurture. And so we hear the term nurturing. One of the things that we're working with some of our agents on right now is, do you have it for a 30-day window? That's your A lead. Your B lead is somebody who is, 30 to maybe 90 days, and then 90 plus maybe your C lead. So I think we've just got to look at how do we categorize our leads and what do we do with the ones that are not ready today?
There you go.
What do we do? But one thing I would like to point out that this ad talks about as well, I think we really have to look at where every dollar is spent. We always talk about running a business like a business. We've been to some of those great programs where we learn how to run our business. The conversation of today's market has to be, what are you doing with every dollar? Is it accounted for? Because we can make the money, but we've got to make sure that we're running our business so we can see if it's a return on our investment.
There you go. There's so many tricks in here. You can go find this article on Inman. But at the end of the day, Toya, what is the message we want people to hear and tune into right now?
One, I would say accountability. I think right now coaching is prime. It really is. I think that you have to be omnipresent and you have to have an accountability partner or partners that are helping you stay in front of it. The other part is study the market. I think we do a fantastic job with the trends, and I love the industry update every week. Because if you stay ahead of the market, you can really be able to capitalize on what's coming and you're not preparing. So that very thing that we always say, always stay ready so that you are ready. That's what we need to look at. And the other part is you're going to have to double and triple down on your business. We came off of 2 years where we really didn't have to do a whole lot of work. You are working in this industry.
100%. It's all about putting in the work, being smart, and you can win. I promise you, you can win. You just got to be smart about it and go for it. And we're all in helping you do that. Just reach out, right?
Yep.
Well, Toya, I heard on this call it went long 2 weeks ago. So maybe we should give everybody back 5 minutes.
I love it.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.